Let's face it, mortgage compliance sucks. The good news is, we're here to help with that. Welcome to the show with one simple goal: keep Canadian mortgage brokers protected and prepared in a challenging regulatory environment. We bypass the boring parts and get straight to it. Practical approaches, checklists, and real-world examples that you and your business can actually relate to. Whether it's FinTrack, the provincial regulators, or whatever might come next. I'm Justin Noda, occasionally joined by Dean Lawton and Derek Williamson, and this is the Broker Armour podcast. PMCs, what are they? Everyone's heard about them. Everyone knows what a PREC is as far as the real estate world goes. This is the mortgage broker's answer to a PREC. The PMC, a personal mortgage corporation. And it really is that. It is a personal mortgage corporation that only exists so that you can receive your mortgage remuneration from your brokerage into your corporate account. That's it. It doesn't make you a brokerage. It doesn't make you a team. It doesn't give you anything special that you would think beyond the ability to receive your money into a corporation. I've had tons of questions with people asking, what they are, what they do. BCFSA has put out lots of information on pretty much everything you can think about. And we're going to cover a couple things. We're not going to be able to touch base on everything. There are websites upon websites. Go to BCFSA. They have an MSA section, right? They have lots of FAQs. They have timelines and outlines that everyone would probably be very beneficial from reading and getting to know it, no matter what pathway you're choosing to take. I think the biggest way to think about this is what can't a PMC do, right? And it really is only there to collect your mortgage remuneration. So if you're thinking, I'm just going to take my existing corporation that I now hold real estate in and I do investments in and I have a whole bunch of other things I do lending out of, right? And I'm just going to move it over. That's going to become my PMC and away we go. No, it won't work. There are rules and regulations on what a PMC can and cannot do. And as I said a little bit earlier, it really is just in place to receive your corporate remuneration, and that's it. So if anything else can be kind of done on a standalone basis, it's probably not going to be allowed to be done through a PMC, right? Trades in stocks, other than like modest trading that might constitute like a capital gain opposed to actually having income from the business. It can't, hold real estate. It can't engage in real estate development. And one of the biggest ones that I found out, one of the ones that's causing some of the biggest turmoil in the industry right now, is that a PMC cannot pay a licensed person. And again, hard stop. So the only person under the MSA, or the only entity under the MSA that can pay a licensed individual, is the mortgage brokerage that license is under. So for everybody out there right now who has a licensed underwriter that they pay a salary to, the only way that that's able to continue is if you open a brokerage and then pay your person a salary. Otherwise, there has to be a conversation about potentially switching it into like a split setup, right? Where then the person's working for 20% of the commission. That way on the Form 10s, you're disclosing, Bill gets 80% and Sally gets 20%. And then the brokerage is paying, Bill is 80, Sally are 20. Everything is fine. The MSA is satisfied. If we pay Bill 100% and then Bill pays Sally, who is a licensed mortgage broker, that 20%, that's offside. You're out of bounds. You will get discovered. They have made it very well known that it's going to be something that they're, keeping an extensive eye out for. So it's not really a path that you want to step in. Although it is causing a lot of turmoil, as I said, in the industry, because there's lots of people that have been doing it one way for so long. And this is causing them to have to put brakes on that, reverse it a little bit, and maybe look at doing things a different way or getting set up in a different manner. There's a Teams aspect to this as well that's coming out in April. Teams, for everyone's knowledge, really all Teams is the ability to front as a cohesive brand. So again, a team is not a brokerage, right? A team is not anything special other than the ability for people to work together. And we'll get into teams, we'll get into brokerages, we'll get into principal brokers, we'll get into all that stuff on different episodes. As far as the PMCs, there's a couple more things that I wanted to point out just because they are important when people are considering this. The naming of a PMC is a big thing. So inside the Mortgage Services Act, it is recommended but not required that you use your licensee name. So using Justin Noda, and then it is important that the corporation name also has Personal Mortgage Corporation. The full thing spelt out in full. No PMC, no abbreviation, no anything. Justin Noda, Personal Mortgage Corporation has to be the legal name of that Personal Mortgage Corporation, and that is how you advertise. All the advertising has to say Justin Noda Personal Mortgage Corporation. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit. Recommended but not required to use your licensee name. So there is a little bit of give and take on them considering the ability to use a more corporate or company sounding name. Big Time Mortgages, Personal Mortgage Corporation. Personal Mortgage Corporation is the consistent one here, not Big Time Mortgages, PMC, right? And not just Big Time Mortgages, right? It has to have Personal Mortgage Corporation in the name. Otherwise, it won't get approved. So because the names won't be approved until October 13th, when the MSA comes into play, we don't really know what BCFSA is going to look for. We don't know how willing they're going to be to accept a more corporate sounding name over top of their licensee name. So one of the tricks that they've recommended is to actually get 2 PMC names held. So go to BC Registries. BC Registries is able to hold a name for 56 days prior. So 56 days prior to October 13th is August 18th. Go to BC Registries, go to your lawyer, go to your accountant, go to whoever is able to hold that name for you. And maybe you get them to hold Justin Noda Personal Mortgage Corporation and Big Time Mortgage Personal Mortgage Corporation. Then on October 13th, when you take that name from BC Registries to BCFSA for them to approve it, provide the one that you want first. If you want that corporate sounding name, provide that to them. If they come back and say yes, you're golden. If they come back and say no, then you're going to have to provide them with your more licensee sounding name, and you'll have to make all the adjustments you can on that moving forward. So it's a little bit sticky. It's a little bit tricky. Who can own a PMC is another thing that keeps coming up. So owning a PMC, you as the licensee, you need to own 100% of the voting shares of this corporation, and that is non-negotiable. Where it becomes a little negotiable is the non-voting shares. So the non-voting shares of a PMC are a little bit of a different story just because the non-voting shares can be owned by your spouse, by your child. They can be owned by a corporation. They can own non-voting shares as long as all those shares of that corporation are beneficially owned by either you, your spouse, or your child. And same thing, a trust. A trust can also own non-voting shares as long as all the beneficiaries of that trust are either you, your spouse, your child. So you can see some consistencies that start to add up. So there's lots of little, I'm going to call them picadillos, lots of picadillos inside of the PMC. But as I said, I recommend getting on BCFSA's website, having a look at it. I guess one other thing is the cost. So the cost is something that continually comes up. It is another license, even though it's kind of connected directly to your mortgage broker license that everybody's going to have. So your mortgage broker license is $2,100. Your PMC license is also $2,100. So these are stacking. So just because you get a PMC doesn't mean you're only paying $21. If you want a PMC, you have to pay for the privilege of having a PMC. And it's the same thing with a brokerage, right? A brokerage is $3,100. So if you had a broker owner that had a mortgage broker license and they wanted a PMC and they wanted $3,100, then every 2-year cycle, he or she is paying $2,100, $2,100, $3,100. So it can start to add up. So again, this is the type of stuff that you're going to want to consider when you're making a decision on whether or not you want a PMC. Is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Do you do enough business? Do you save enough money on taxes? Think about that you're also going to be paying an accountant in order to do your corporate taxes, right? Do your math, see what affects you the most and see what's going to benefit you the most moving forward.
Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Now, a message about something that means a great deal to us and to everyone at A Better Way Mortgage Group. City Reach Care Society is our chosen charity partner for 2026. For over 20 years, City Reach has been serving thousands of vulnerable individuals, children, and families across Greater Vancouver. They call themselves the Hope Business. When you see what they do, you'll understand why. Through their Food for Families program, City Reach provides fresh, nutritious groceries to over 4,500 people every single month. They partner with 54 schools across Vancouver, Surrey, and the Tri-Cities to make sure kids have access to food, hygiene supplies, and the support they need to thrive. Every August, their back-to-school blast puts backpacks filled with school supplies into the hands of 1,000 children heading back to the classroom. Here's what makes your support go even further. Every single dollar donated to City Reach translates into $10 worth of food for families in need. You can learn more, donate, or sign up to volunteer at cityreach.org. That's CITYREACH.org. Once again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.